Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Jamie Schenker-Pissarro, Associate Director of the Temple Small Business Development Center, and we do thank you for joining us today. As I mentioned, your access has been muted, and we'd like you to use the chat function to ask questions, and we will hope to address them if time allows. Let me see if there are some issues in the chat right now. Okay, great. So it looks like you can hear me. Excellent. So we posted a poll from all of you. It certainly looks like you are all seeing an impact on your business from COVID-19. We are offering this webinar in order to assist small businesses manage the impact of the virus and to offer support to you. I would also like to wish you a happy National SBDC Day, which happens to fall out today. And let me move to our agenda. Is that all right? Okay. So first today we are going to hear from Carl Kraus, who is a business consultant at our Temple Small Business Development Center. We will then hear from Wilma Bonilla, who is a lender relations and economic development specialist for the Eastern Pennsylvania District Office of the SBA, and she will talk specifically about disaster relief loans. And then if Lynn is on the line, hopefully Lynn Fisher from the Office of Emergency Management will speak to us as well. No, why is my screen? Okay. All right, Carl. So I'm going to see if you are able to share your screen now. Okay, we can hear you now, Carl.
Okay. Good morning. I'm going to be talking a little bit about contingency planning as well as recovery, preparation during a disaster and recovery from the disaster after that. So that's generally what we're going to cover this morning here. And there we go. Okay. So just like large organizations, small businesses and organizations need to prepare for potential disruptions. There are a number of different events that can trigger disaster for small businesses, and being prepared with a response and recovery plan helps to reduce the business will ultimately face in disaster. Obviously, yeah, at this point, we're in the middle of it, so we're going to focus mostly on that. But some of the important things that disasters, and specifically this one that we're dealing with now with the COVID-19, can have on small businesses is interruptions in the supply chain. And with globalization of supply chains, obviously disasters in any part of the world can lead to shortages. In this case, it's disrupting the entire world at this point. Sales demands, yeah, we're seeing that obviously locally as well as globally. Disruptions with your staffing can occur. The operations themselves with loss of electrical power or cyber attacks or communication losses, any of those kind of things. And damage can occur to the equipment facilities because of those type of things, as well as weather and earthquakes and other things like that. And one of the things that we don't think about very often is the loss of business information and data, things like customer lists and information on operations and simple things like that. So one of the things as we go forward is we want to make sure that we deal or address how we recover from all those issues. So what do you do before a disaster? I'm covering this because some of you may not have been too affected yet, and there's still time for you to be able to address some of these issues. So the first thing is to identify where your vulnerabilities are. What could be happening right now and happening in the future that could make your business vulnerable, both in the short term as well as the longer term? And that involves identification of your systems, the information, the people that are required, that type of thing. And you want to make sure you have backup and redundancy. This is backup of your computer systems, your data systems, things like that, but also backup of your delivery systems and your communication systems and things that are critical to your business continuing operations during the event and recovering from your operations after the event. You want to make sure that you maintain communication with all key stakeholders in your business. This would be suppliers, customers, your staff, your banks, everybody that has anything to do with your business. You want to be able to communicate, let them know what you're planning, let them know what you're doing. And then if you can test out some of these things, make sure that backup systems are working, things like that. It's very helpful to do before you're in the middle of a crisis. We're right in the middle of this. Most of us are at this point, according to the poll that we just ran. And so we want to do the following. We want to first protect life, obviously, more than anything. Then protect the information, and then worry about the physical property. So it's kind of in that order is the order of importance to address these issues. We want to, the conditions are constantly changing, as we all know. So you want to make sure that you're adapting your responses as conditions change and develop, and communicate regularly with all stakeholders and partners again. And so as things change, your communications are going to change. And what I'm seeing from many small businesses through social media and emails is that they are communicating on a regular basis with what they are doing today based on the information that they have available, as well as any directives that are coming from the agency, from various agencies. And also at this time is a good time to contact the agencies and organizations that are out there for assistance, such as the SBA, FEMA, SBDC, shameless plug there, the American Red Cross if you need help with personnel issues, that kind of stuff, and your banking partners. Anybody that, again, is a stakeholder or could provide assistance to you during this time or after this time, now is the time to start contacting them and establishing a conversation. As things settle down, which they inevitably will do, we want to start looking at how we recover. And the keys here are to get started as soon as you can, as soon as you see that things are starting to calm down. Have your plan together on what you're going to do to recover, and then start to execute it as soon as possible. Getting the company operating as soon as you can in any capacity at least establishes in the community and in the your customer and vendor base that you are viable, you continue to be viable as a company, and gets across the idea that you're a can-do kind of organization that can get going, get up and running, that type of thing. You need to be supportive of staff. You need to understand that your employees still have personal issues that they have to deal with, family issues, and you want to be as supportive as possible. Again, you want to communicate regularly during this recovery process with all stakeholders. Seek out guidance and assistance, again, contacting those organizations that I talked about previously, and get help with navigating all the programs that are available. I know there's a lot of communications coming out from a lot of organizations right now. It can be very confusing, and getting some help in navigating that can be very helpful. And finally, concentrate on that path to starting some operations. This may be something very simple. Maybe, you know, as a restaurant, maybe you go back to, you get to providing takeout food, or small groups of people in your restaurant before you open up fully. Machine shop might start offering lathe and grinding services until the CNCs are repaired or they're back in operation. The operators can be back working with that. Cleaning firms could start with a few small customers as you build up your staff, rebuild your staff to get to the point where you could handle larger accounts, things like that. Any opportunities you have to get operating will be to the benefit of the company. So specifically with COVID-19, the impact on business, this is a unique event. Number one, it's global. So it's affecting supply chains and customers throughout the entire globe. It's almost simultaneous throughout the entire world. And so again, it's hitting everybody at once. And it also is extensively distributed throughout societies. It doesn't seem to have a any differences with respect to income, socioeconomic, any of that type of stuff, and it is highly transmittable. So this is causing forced mass shutdowns of businesses, and that causes disruptions of supply chains. If you aren't shut down, your supply chain may still be. You may have to cease operations. Your staff is going to be disrupted because of the social distancing and self-quarantines and things like that. So that both disrupts your staff, but also severely can impact your sales as well. And then the border closings are also going to be disrupting the supply chains, since we do have global supply chains for most of our businesses. And there's a potential medium-term timeline. This can go on and is expected by many experts to be going on for months, not just weeks. So we need to prepare for that kind of a time frame as we move forward. So what are the key things that small businesses need to do? First and foremost, you need to protect the health of your staff. You need to make sure that your employees are healthy, that they can maintain that, and also that they don't act or become carriers of the virus. So you want to aid in mitigation of the spread. You want to make sure that your company, your business is not helping the virus to spread in any way. The third is you want to make sure that you ensure the protection of all your assets. And again, this includes both the physical and the data assets. And you want to make sure that you secure them against losses through the inability to meet financing requirements as well. There are programs out there that are developing at this point that can help with delays in payments for financing and things like that. You want to make sure that you're addressing all the licensing fees and tax payments that are necessary. Again, that is changing on a daily basis as far as deadlines for tax payments and all. You need to keep up on those type of things to make sure that you understand what is and is not due at certain times. But again, you're protecting your assets by keeping abreast of what's going on in those areas. In addition, there's financial assistance that is being offered both through the SBA and through local and state governments. Banking partners are available, are looking at things. And I just saw this morning that Facebook is offering some assistance to small businesses as well. I'm not sure what the details are on that, but other organizations and companies are reaching out with opportunities for you to get assistance with the financial side of things and continuing your operations if possible. And again, look at partner organizations, the SBDC and other organizations to seek out help with planning and planning for both the weathering the storm during this event and also for setting up to be able to recover and your operations and get moving again at full speed as soon as possible after the crisis has passed. And just a few ideas for retaining and gaining customers while we're in this situation. For those companies that can't operate as normal, things like for yoga studios, martial arts schools, even personal trainers, running virtual classes, things like that, utilizing technologies that are available, such as Zoom, which we're using today. For restaurants, so many of them are offering takeout and delivery services. I saw a few of our clients, one of which is a local brewery, is offering delivery services of their canned products and I think growlers to major parts of the city. You can promote the purchase of gift cards for your company and for neighboring companies as a way for people to support community businesses. And then what I'd like you to do, if possible, if you have any additional ideas to share, if you could just type those into the chat function in Zoom here and make sure that you address them to all participants, not just the panelists. I think that would be helpful for everyone. So if anybody has ideas, please feel free to share those. And that's the presentation that I had together for today.
Thank you, Carl. All right. So next, I'm going to share my screen again. Oops. All right, Wilma, can you unmute yourself? We are very happy that you're joining us today.
Good morning, can you hear me?
There we go. There's a bit of an echo.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yep, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Got it, thank you. So let me just, share my screen.
And I'm sure you're all eager to hear what the SBA office has to say in terms of disaster relief loans. Again, if you have questions, we still have you muted, so you can post those into the chat box.
Please do so. Jamie, I need to actually share my screen. Let's see. Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm Wilma Bonilla, Lender Relations Specialist for the Small Business Administration. Right now and before we start, I know things are changing constantly within the SBA, so I urge each one of you to actually go into the SBA Eastern PA website, and if you actually scroll all the way down, you can sign up for our newsletters. In that way, we can actually update on the information we receive constantly. Okay, so what SBA can offer small business owners? So right now we are offering economic injury disaster loans. So this is for designated states and territories, and it's a low interest federal disaster loans for working capital. So how does it work for PA and for other states? So we actually, the governor's office needs to request assistance from SBA. So we are in the middle of it. Once that assistance gets approved, and this is when where the thing gets tricky. Once that assistance gets approved, the small business owners in turn will be able to apply for that economic injury disaster loans. So right now we are working towards that goal to include PA as part of the disaster in regards of the coronavirus. In the meantime, what you can do to put you ahead of the game. So if you actually go to the disaster assistance website, you will find a lot of forms and information regarding on how to apply for the economic injury disaster loans. So you can start by just looking through those forms, and you can start preparing them. So when in fact the PA disaster, PA Pennsylvania gets included, and in a disaster, you actually be more than ready to apply online. So right now, SBA can provide up to $2 million to help meet financial obligations and operating expenses that could have been met had the disaster not occurred. So it is important that your business prove to SBA that you have been losing money due to the disaster, which in this case will be the coronavirus. So that loan amount will be based on your actual economic injury and your company's financial needs. So you will need to provide all sort of financial documentation, tax returns. Remember that this is another loan, even though it's more flexible because it ties to the disaster, you still need to provide financial documentation. So these loans may be used to pay fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills that can be paid because of the disaster impact. So for example, if you haven't been able to pay your employees, you can apply for these disaster loans because you haven't been able to meet your expectations due in part because of the disasters. So the interest rate right now is 3.75 for small business for-profit companies. For non-profit, is 2.7. So eligibility and terms. First of all, you must meet the SBA established size standard criteria. So we will utilize the next classification system in order to qualify for economic injury disaster loans assistance. The SBA will offer loans with long-term repayments in order to keep payments affordable up to a maximum of 30 years. So first of all, it's a fixed rate and it's up to a maximum of 30 years. The terms will be determined on a case-by-case basis, based upon each borrower's ability to repay that loan. So what businesses are eligible to apply? If you're a small business, you can apply. If you're a small agricultural cooperative, you can apply. And most private non-profit organizations can actually apply for economic injury disaster loans. This will include businesses directly affected by disasters, businesses that offer services directly related to the businesses in the declaration, other businesses indirectly related to the industry that are likely to be harmed by losses in their community. At this point, I don't know if you are aware, last night the SBA sent a press release where the administrator made more flexible the requirements for disaster declarations. So you have to keep in mind that once PA gets included within the disaster, it will be for the entire state, not only for some counties. What other criteria are involved? So the applicant's business must have a physical presence in the declared disaster area. An applicant's economic presence alone in a declared disaster area does not meet this requirement. So you have to, your physical presence have to be tangible and significant in order to apply for economic injury disaster loans within Pennsylvania. Ineligible business, as any other SBA programs, religious organizations, nonprofit organizations that are not privately owned, concerns engaged in illegal activities, lending or investment concerns, speculative activities, pawn shop, political or lobbying concerns, businesses considered as hobbies, real estate developers. So it's more or less the same as other SBA programs. Credit requirements. And let me just say something real quick. Even it is more flexible than regular SBA programs because it's directly tied to a disaster, but you still need to meet minimum requirements. So they're gonna look to your credit history. So applicants must have a credit history acceptable to SBA. Applicants must show the ability to repay the loan, even though SBA they already know that you haven't been able to meet your expectations due to the disaster. You still need to prove that eventually you have that ability to repay the loan. Collateral is required for all economic injury disaster loans over $25,000. Everything below that mark will be an unsecured loan. So SBA will take real estate as collateral when it's available. SBA would not decline a loan for lack of collateral, but SBA will require the borrower to pledge collateral if it's available. Refinancing. Economic injury disaster loans cannot be used to refinance long-term debts. So this is for additional information. You can contact the SBA Disaster Assistance Customer Service Center. That's the 1-800 that I'm sharing here, or you can send an email to disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. Okay, and I think that's it on my part.
All right, Wilma, we do have some questions. One question that I'm seeing a few times is how long do you need to be in business to qualify?
Sure, so your business has to be at least 1 year before the disaster in operations. SBA will actually require you to file and to document 3 years worth of tax returns. So it would be 2017, 2018, 2019, if you have been in business for more than 3 years. But if you have not, and this is an important piece, you need to actually write a narrative on when exactly your operation started and document that you have been losing money because of the coronavirus. So they will actually ask you for your projections as well. Does that answer your question?
I think it probably does. Thank you. And there's another question. Is SBA backing these loans, or can CDFI microlenders lend as an intermediary?
Say that again, please.
The question is SBA backing these loans, or can CDFI microlenders act as an intermediary?
Remember that this is the only time when SBA actually is a direct lender.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me go through some other questions. Now this may be tricky to answer, but if you do, might there be a minimum credit score to share just to give a range?
You know what? That question might be answered by the loan processor. I still would urge every small business to apply. And and let the loan processor work with it.
Question about, would this apply to independent contractors? So is the question, Catherine, if independent contractors would be eligible for these loans? I think that's what I'm understanding the question is. Yeah.
There are some ineligible business, but if you don't fall into that category, you might as well go ahead and apply for that loan.
Oh, here's a good question. Should the projections for losing money start at the mandate, or could it include losses since the beginning of March?
It can actually include losses since the beginning of March, because we had that coronavirus before that.
Okay, thank you.
But remember and keep in mind that you have to prove that your losses are directly tied to the disaster.
Question: if corporate office is located in Philadelphia, but there are other stores in other cities, would that business apply on a per store basis or just for the corporate location?
I have to get back to you on that one. I believe it's in your main office, but I will have to get back to you on that one.
There's a question: would the SBA consider giving a loan if a business already has a line of credit? I would imagine that answer is yes.
You're correct.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's a good question. Any insight on the timing of when the loans might be dispersed?
Well, as far as I know, it's supposed to be between 2 or 3 weeks, but since this is such a huge disaster, it can take longer. So we have to see on how quick the loan processor and the processing and disbursement center can actually work through these loans.
Okay. Question: if my 2019 tax returns are not filed yet, can I still apply?
Pardon me? Didn't catch that.
If their 2019 tax returns are not yet filed, can they still apply?
Yes, they can. Make sure to actually include 2017, 2018.
Okay. And there's a question about
sorry, and if you have some interim financials, include that also.
Question about did the determination if you're in an area with physical presence in an impacted area. I'm guessing that'll come from the SBA.
It does.
Okay.
But remember that since the administrator make it more flexible, the whole state will be included as part of the disaster once it gets approved.
Any insight into when the declaration may be issued for Pennsylvania?
Not yet, but stay tuned because things are changing pretty fast.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I think that's probably all the questions we're going to take from now. I do want to share my screen now. Give me a moment. Is that this one? Yes. All righty. Okay. So I did want to mention, if you have a business that's located in Philadelphia, the Department of Commerce and PIDC are sending out a survey, and this will help them determine what your pressing needs are. So if you haven't done that yet, we will send that out, and I will link it in the chat as well, but I wanted to mention that to you. And here are some of the resources that we mentioned. So there's FEMA. The city has some resources as well, information on unemployment coverage, the definition of an essential versus non-essential business, what the SBA is saying at the moment, CDC guidance. Facebook has also put out some tips for businesses. QuickBooks has put out tips, and Google has as well. And OSHA has some workplace guidelines. If you are hearing some strange noises in the background, my puppy has a little bit of a stomach bug. Just gonna say that. She's very cute though, extremely cute. Tomorrow, the Pennsylvania Chamber will be hosting a webinar on employers' responses to COVID-19. So things like legal considerations in terms of what you need to do with your employees. I'm sure that's a topic there are a lot of questions on. And in case you were not familiar with our organization, I really quickly just wanted to mention we have been around since the 80s. We are part of the 1,000 SBDCs across the country, and our mission is to help small businesses start and grow. To give you a better sense of our services and how we can help you, especially if you are new to us, we are here for you even though we are working remotely. So we are still maintaining normal business hours, and our consultants can meet with you via phone or webinar and talk about planning for your business right now. Here are some areas and assistance that are popular areas. Typically, we have a full training event calendar. We do in-person events that they've all been postponed. But I do want to mention that in response to the crisis, we have a few more upcoming webinars, and there may be more on the way. The first I will mention is really relevant to what Wilma has been talking about. So preparing your pro formas now so that when the Declaration of Pennsylvania opens, you are ready will be really crucial. So on Friday and Monday, we'll be doing a two-part webinar on creating your pro formas. So getting you prepared so that you can immediately apply. We will send out the links for that after the webinar. We will be next week we'll be joined by Honeycomb and Work, who is on the line today, and they'll be talking about some local funding options right now for small businesses, especially in response to the crisis. And additionally, on April 7th, we have postponed our small business marketing bootcamp that was going to be hosted at Reading Terminal. Instead, we'll be doing a webinar on rebuilding customer relations and social media presence in response to a disaster. So I wanted to put out our contact information here. If you are new to us and you have not been assigned a consultant, you haven't worked with a consultant before, we're going to ask that you send an email to sbdc@temple.edu and just mention kind of what you are thinking about, and we'll help connect you with a consultant. Do bear with us. We cover Philadelphia, Lower Bucks, and Lower Montgomery County, and we are getting quite an influx of clients right now, so bear with us. My contact information, if you have questions about webinars, or maybe there's a specific topic that we have not done as a webinar yet, but you'd like us to do it, you can contact me, Jamie, SBDC@temple.edu. And if you have questions for Carl, who did the presentation about emergency preparedness, his email is here as well. And I just want to go back to the questions to see if there are any.
Oh boy. Hey, Jamie, this is Lynn. Do you want me to give an update or not?
Oh, Lynn, yes, that would be amazing. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you're on the line. That would be great. Thank you so much for joining.
So hi all, this is Lynn Fisher. I'm from the Office of Emergency Management. I am here working in our Emergency Operations Center, which we stood up, I don't even know how many days ago. But really that is an opportunity for all of the leadership in the city and our partners to really make decisions, good decisions about how we're gonna fight this thing, how we're gonna get through, how we're gonna get Philadelphia up and running again after. So we are here working very hard to kind of get a handle on everything that's going on. I can provide a little bit of guidance about what came out yesterday, in the last 2 days, about businesses, essential versus non-essential. There are a million questions, all businesses throughout, we have like 40,000 businesses in Philadelphia. Everyone has questions, and I just really want to give you the high level. We are trying to fight this virus. The best way to fight this virus that we know of is social distancing, washing your hands, keeping things clean, really trying to, I'm sure you've heard the term flatten the spread, flatten the curve. That's really what we're trying to do. And so there are decisions that are being made by the city and by the state and by the federal government about how many people should be in each space and if businesses should be opening. But I really want you to think for your own business, how can you as a business owner help us flatten this curve? How can we really beat it? So if you are an essential business and maybe you say serve food, or you provide a service that is essential, and we have some lists actually out of what are essential businesses, then I want you to figure out how can you run your business in a way that promotes that social distancing, making sure people have clean hands and are protecting each other, really protecting each other from this, and still able to do your business. You may have to make the decision to close, even if you're an essential business. We don't want you to close, but if you have to, you have to, and we want to support you in your decision-making for your business. But really, the whole goal of this is to just fight this thing. If we can close things down enough so that we're not spreading this virus, then all of Philadelphia is going to be able to rebound faster. So that's really, I know that it seems like, oh, the government is shutting me down, everything. The reason we're doing this is because we really have to get a handle on this virus, and you guys are the way that we can do that. So if you have questions about your business and what you need, you can always please email business@phila.gov, and actually those folks are here sitting in here with me answering those questions. So if you have specific questions, there is also some really great information out. If you go to phila.gov/COVID-19, that will give you there's a whole section just for businesses to get the details of like, am I essential or am I not essential, or can I run this business with 10 people, or all of those questions. Everyone has specific questions, I understand, but again, the big picture is we're really just trying to stop this virus, and if you can help us do that, then that's great. We need your help. I think that is all that I have. Please reach out to that email. We do have folks, it does take time. We have about 130 emails right now we're working on, but we are going through them and giving people the best answers that we can. If you would like up-to-date Information, we have a health alert that comes out a couple times a day. You can get that for free. You just text the word COVID-PHL to 888-777, and you'll get signed up for those lists, and you'll get a couple of messages a day. I'm happy to take questions in the chat, and I'm going to stop talking.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I'll pull out some questions. A lot of people are asking about the slides and the links. We are 100% going to send them out. So you will have all the links to the resources, and I will get the presentations from the presenters, and I'll also make sure that OEM's information is included as well. Someone was asking about the list of essential and non-essentials. That is included as one of our links, so you will definitely get that. There is one that Governor Wolf put out, and there's also a separate one from the city of Philadelphia. So if you're located in the city, you'd want to follow that one. Another question on clarification. Yes, there still needs to be an official PA disaster declaration for the emergency loans to become available. That is accurate. And yes, it is accurate that it may take 2 to 3 weeks to receive funds. Just to reiterate, to increase the speed of that, making sure that your application is as tight as possible is crucial. So that is why we have set that webinar up for Friday and Monday, so that you can work on the pro formas and just speed up the process in any way possible. Correct, if you have been in business for less than a year, this particular SBA product would not be available to you. That is correct. Again, we are hosting a webinar next Wednesday to discuss some other funding options. So that link is live, and we'll make sure you get that. But that is accurate that for this particular SBA relief loan, you do need to be in business for over a year. Can we email the webinar link for Friday? Yes, we can email that out for sure. Can retail businesses offer curbside pickup or delivery via online shopping? I'm fairly sure that is the case. We are seeing a lot of businesses doing that now.
Jamie, can I jump in? It's Wilma again.
Yeah, please. I think there is a question for you.
So if you have a previous SBA loan, please make sure to call and contact your lender, your micro lender, or your CDC for the 504 program, because they have other options available for you.
And Wilma, there's a question. If you live in Philadelphia, but your business is in New Jersey or elsewhere, what would that mean? Is the declaration relevant for the state in which your business is located, as opposed to where you live?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It goes back to where your main office of operations are. But I can get back to you on that, just to make sure and double check on that.
Okay, there's a question, has this webinar been recorded? My answer is yes, although we are still learning Zoom, so hopefully I did that correctly for you and would love to be able to share that link. We'll probably be posting that on YouTube so it's easier to share. Okay, Wilma, that's a good question. Where should businesses look for to get the actual disaster declaration? Which website would that come from?
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. So where should businesses look for updates on the disaster declarations? Is that from the SBA's website?
First of all, if you can go to the SBA Eastern PA website, and if you scroll all the way down, you can sign up for updates on newsletters. Most probably we will actually be including, once the declaration is in, once PA is included in the declaration, we will send some email out, or you can actually go to SBA Disaster Assistance website, and you'll be able to actually go through all the declarations that have been approved. But I can send that link. I mean, I can send it to you, and you can send it to all the participants.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Question, if you have been in business for more than a year, but you changed your name, restructured perhaps, would you need to provide documentation of that in order to be eligible?
Yes, you will.
Okay, all right, great. Anyone asking for websites, we will make sure you get all of those. Another question about slides, yes. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I think that we have actually answered the majority of the questions. It looks like, I'm sure there are plenty of individual questions. This is a very complicated time, and things are changing every day. So we do want you to feel comfortable reaching out to all of us. So to Lynn at the Office of Emergency Management and her team, to Wilma and her team at our local PA District Office, and to our staff as well, Temple Small Business Development Center. We have consultants who are waiting for you to reach out. Again, sorry for the puppy. Oh my goodness. Good thing vets are considered an essential business. We'll probably be going there soon. So as I was saying, our SBDC team will be available whether you have worked with us previously or you'll be a new client of ours interested in assistance. Okay, all right, good. So I think that does answer all the questions. We really appreciate Carl, Wilma, Lynn, thank you so much for talking to us today and pulling this together with not much notice. Okay, well, thank you all. I think we're going to end this webinar. We appreciate your patience with us, with learning Zoom. You know, the technology, adapting to technology is something that we all kind of need to manage right now. So thank you for bearing with us. Sorry about the puppy noises. She's very cute. And we will be in touch with, again, the slides, the links, contact information, future webinars. We want to continue to be a resource and support you and your business as much as possible. Thanks again for tuning in today.